Hare Krishna. Let's make a start with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giri Vardhari. Shodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Shodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnānatimirnasya Jnānanjanashlakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saigana Raghunathavitam Tam Shri Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saigana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Vipranmami Haripriya Vancha Kalpata Priyascha Kirpa Sindhubevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Go Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukham Kruti Vachanam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpata Mandeshi Guru Ditaranam Paramanandamadam Shitanesha Hariyam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Nauttamam Devim Sasvyatam Tato Jamaduriyat Nashta Prashabdrishu Nitabhavsya Bhakti Tushtagi Bhakti Nishtiki. Hare Krishna. So, okay, now we are in verse 27, and last time we were talking about how Dhritarashtra was living life like a dog. His Prabhupada mentions that he's living life like a dog. He's like they say in India, no? He lived in the pieces of his masters, whatever they throw at him, he happily accepts. And we also says that he was living in denial of his current position, of where he was, and Vidur came and advised him. He could say in a way nagged him, and he spoke to him like actually his wife should have been waking him up, but she didn't do anything about it. So Vidur had to come and sort out his position. So we'll continue from there, and now we're in 27. So yah svakat parato veha jat nirved atman Hardi Kritpa Harim Gehat. parvarajit sa naruttamam. So yeah, anyone who swakat by his own awakening, prathava, or by hearing from another, iha, here in this world, jat, becomes nirvedha, indifferent to material attachment, atman, consciousness, hardi, within the heart, kritva, have been taken by Harim, the personally Godhead, Gehat, from home, Parvarajit, goes away, Sa, he is Nar Uttama, the first class human being. So he is certainly a first class man who awakens and understands either by himself or from others the falsity and misery of this world, and thus leave home and depends fully on the personality Godhead residing within his heart. So Srila Prabhupada explains that there are three classes of transcendentalists, namely the Dhira, or the one who is not disturbed by being away from family association, and second type person is transcendentalist is one in the renounced order of life, sannyasi by frustrated sentiment, and third, a sincere devotee of the Lord who awakens God consciousness by hearing and chanting and lives on depending completely on the personality of Godhead who resides in his heart. The idea is that the renounced order of life, after a frustrated life of sentiment in the material world, may be a stepping stone on the path of self-realization. But so, stepping stone on the path of self-realization after frustrated life of sentiment in the material world. So in all these, so these sentiments in the material world, they're like obstacles in our life, and they're distractions in our life, or at least if you feel, then these people find that actually it's a stepping stone on the path of self-realization by taking the renounced order. So you can use those frustrations to renounce this order of life and aggress the life and go on to the renounced order of life. It's not recommended, but some people do that. But real perfection of the path of liberation is attained when one is practiced to depend fully on the Supreme Personality Godhead. That's what's recommended. Who lives in everyone's heart as Paramatma. One may live in the darkest jungle alone out of home, but a steadfast devotee knows very well that he is not alone. The Supreme Personality Godhead is with him, and he can protect his sincere devotee in any awkward circumstance. One should therefore practice devotional service at home, not go into a jungle. Hearing and chanting the holy name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, etc., in association with pure devotees. And this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. So, in the Kali Yuga, it's recommended that we take association, we help the family, and we practice bhakti at the same time, not abandoning everything, abandoning all your responsibilities, and think you're detached by leaving everything behind. It does not work in the Kali Yuga. And this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. So if you can be detached while you're still there in the Maya, then that's like a lotus flower. It does not get affected by the mud that it grows in. So that is a bigger achievement. Instead of just running away from everything, if you can live in it, be in the world but not of it, that's the best policy, as recommended. So, one who desires material benefit by such devotional activities can never depend on the Supreme Personality Godhead, although he sits in the heart. He sits in everyone's heart. Nor does the Lord give any direction to persons who worship Him for material gain. We usually turn to the demigods for material gain. We worship demigods and we ask them for something or other all the time. And this is what demigods do. They fulfill our material desires. But it's recommended that we turn to Krishna and we turn to him for not material desires, for spiritual desires. Because material desires, they're only temporary. And you won't gain anything by it. You actually will lose because you get more attached to material world by asking for material things. Although it sits in heaven, nor does the Lord give any direction to persons who worship him for material gain. Such materialistic devotees may be blessed by the Lord with material benefits, but they cannot reach the stage of the first-class human being, as above mentioned. There are many examples of such sincere devotees in the history of the world, especially in India, and they are guides on the path of self-realization. So Mahatma Vidur is one such great devotee of the Lord, and we should all try to follow in his lotus footsteps for self-realization. Okay. So this next one. Athodicim disham yatu sve agnat gatir bhavan ito arvak prashya kalha pumsam gun vikarshanha. So atha de for Udichim, northern side, disham, direction. Yatu, please go away. Swahi, by your relatives. Agyanta, without knowledge. Gatihi, movements. Bhavan, of yourself. Itha, after this. Arvak will usher in. Prya, yasha, generally. Kala, time. Pumsam, of men. Guna, qualities. Vikarshanaha, diminishing. So please therefore leave for the north immediately without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. So Vidur is advising Dhritarashtra to leave home in this instant. Well, to be honest, he hasn't really got a home, because he's living with the enemy. And he thinks that's his home, but he lost all his rights when the war began. One can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a dhira or leaving home for good without communicating with relatives. And Vidu advises eldest brother to adopt this way without delay, because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching. A conditioned soul is already degraded by the material association, and still in the Kali Yuga, the good qualities of man will deteriorate to the lowest standard. He was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached, because the atmosphere which was created by Vidur, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away to the influence of the age which was fast approaching. So to become a Narottam, or a first-class human being, depending completely on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, is not possible for any ordinary man. It is stated in Bhagavad-Gita 7:8 that a person who's completely relieved of 4 taints of sinful acts can only depend on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the personal Godhead. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidur at least to become a dhira in the beginning, if it were impossible for him to become a sannyasi or a narottam. Persistently endeavoring on the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the conditions of a narottam from the stage of a dhira. The dhira stage is attained after prolonged practice of the yoga system, but by the grace of Vidur, one can attain the stage immediately simply by willing to adopt the means of the dhira stage, which is a preparatory stage for sannyas. The sannyas stage is the preparatory stage of Paramahansa, or the first great devotee of the Lord. And I was just saying last time that Kshatriyas are not recommended to take sannyas. They really can't. They cannot handle sannyas. They But there can be vansprasthas, like the Pandavas left home so many times, they had to go to the one. There can be vansprasthas, but they're not made mentally for taking sannyas. But you have to start somewhere, and there are different stages. So one can compensate for life frustration by becoming a dhira or leaving home for good without communicating relatives. So that was the meaning of dhira. There, he just said, please quietly just leave, because other people might try, especially Yudhishthira, he's very much like that. He's, he gives too much respect, even to Dhritarashtra, and he said, like, without, so there's no fuss, cause, you just leave quietly, because that is the, to be honest, that is the right thing for you to do. And please leave and start on your bhakti. I will show you what to do. And also, you will have association of other sages as well when they leave. Why not necessarily, they will probably go to some ashram or something, and then they'll be like guided up there on what to do. But at the moment, Vidur is there with him to guide him that live this life. You've enjoyed yourself to the fullest. It's not that like in a year's time or something you will get fed up of this life and then you leave by your own accord. No, that won't happen, because you've been enjoying yourself birth after birth, life after life, and you're still not fed up of it. So what makes you think that you'll be fed up of it in due time? There are some religions who recommend that you frustrate your sense gratification and then you come to the Lord. But sense gratification is never frustrated. It never frustrates. We have been enjoying our senses for millions of births. We're not frustrated, right? And then, like, whatever, although it's like flickering happiness, and we don't have the full capacity to continuously enjoy what we enjoy. You might have like a great weekend out and having fun and enjoying the best of foods, which are very rich foods, which are really not good for you. And you think end of the week, oh, I'm never doing this again. This is like hectic. It's like takes too much. It was great fun, but it took a lot of energy and probably an upset stomach because you had all sorts of goodies. But come the week after, you want to do that again. So we might have like a small break, but we never get fed up of sense gratification. We never get fed up. We haven't done so for many lifetimes. We haven't done so in this lifetime. So really, you have to make the effort. You have to make the endeavor to break free. And just breaking free also is not enough. You have to attach yourself to a higher taste. Because just breaking free, then you'll go back again because you have no other business. Then you'll go back again sooner or later, thinking, well, I'm bored. I need to just continue what I was doing. So you need to attach yourself to a higher taste. Give up the lower taste, attach to the higher taste. And this is what Vidur is telling Dhritarashtra. So give up this taste and we'll get you attached to the higher taste. And don't let your relatives and people come in the way. You do the rightful, you do the needful, and just leave home. So 29. So evam raj vidurene nanu jena pragna chakshu buddhita ajamdiha chitva sveshu sneya pashan dridmano nishkrama britar sandarshit adva. So evam thus Raja King Dhrishtra vidurena anujena by younger brother Vidur, pragna introspective knowledge, chakshu eyes, bodhitaha being understood. Ajamidaha Dhritarashtra, sign of the family of Ajamida. Chitva, by breaking. Sveshu, regarding kinsmen. Sneha, passion, strong network of affection. Drid, the Manaha, because of steadfastness. Nishchakrama, got out. Bratra, by his brother. Sandrishta, direction to. Adva, the path of liberation. Thus, Maharaj Drishta, the sign of the family of Ajimada, firmly convinced by introspective knowledge, prajna, broke at once the strong network of familial affection by his resolute determination. So that's a good sign. So whatever Vidur has been preaching to Maharaj Dhritarashtra seems to have worked. There's now some action, some change. Thus he immediately left home to set out on the path of liberation as directed by his younger brother Vidur. So that's if somebody's going to leave, not necessarily family, but material life, material enjoyment, you got to do it at once. You can't say I'll do it next week or next month. Let me just do these things I have on the list to do. You got to do it straight away. That's it. Right now, at this moment, I'm stopping all this. That's it. Stopping all this nonsense, and go on to the Drishtva Nivartate. Excuse me. Okay, so Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great preacher of the principles of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, has stressed that the importance of association with sadhus, pure devotees of the Lord. He said that even by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can achieve all perfection. And who's that devotee? Vidur. And who would achieve perfection is Maharaj Dhritarashtra. So we are not ashamed to admit that this fact was experienced in our practical life. Were we not favored by His divine grace, Śrīmad-Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj? So Srila Prabhupada is saying here in the report that he got the association of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj by our first meeting for a few minutes only. It would have been impossible for us to accept this mighty task of describing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in English without seeing him at that opportune moment. We could have become a very great business magnate, but never would have been able to walk the path of liberation and be engaged in the factual service of the Lord under instructions of His divine grace. And here is another practical example by the action of Vidur, association with Dhritarashtra. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was tightly bound in a network of material affinities related to politics, economy and family attachments, and he did everything in his power to achieve so-called success in his planned projects. But he was frustrated from the beginning to the end so far as his material activities were concerned. And yet, despite his life of failure, he achieved the greatest of all success in self-realization by the forceful instructions of pure devotee of the Lord, who is the typical emblem of a sadhu. So, how powerful are these instructions? They can break all your political, economical, and family attachment. They can break all the shackles. That's how strong these instructions are. The scriptures enjoin, therefore, that one should associate with sadhus only, rejecting all other kinds of association. And by doing so, one will have ample opportunity to hear the sadhus. So one should associate with sadhus only. So which means that doesn't mean that you don't speak to your family or associate people at work. Taking association with sadhu means that you only listen to their instructions. You don't listen to instructions or mundane instructions that other people are given to you. You take the instructions of people who are giving instructions to how to get closer to Krishna. Excuse me. So rejecting all other kinds of association, mental, like you don't hear those anukul vivarjana instructions, the unfavorable, only favorable ones. You don't listen to pratikul yasya instructions. Excuse me. So who can cut to pieces the bonds of illusion infection in the material world? It is a fact that the material world is a great illusion because everything appears to be a tangible reality, but at the next moment evaporates like the dashing foam of the sea or a cloud in the sky. A cloud in the sky undoubtedly appears to be a reality because it rains, and due to rain so many temporary green things appear, but in the ultimate issue everything disappears, namely the cloud, rain and green vegetation, all in due course, but the sky remains, and the varieties of sky or luminaries also remain forever. Similarly, the absolute truth, which is compared to the sky, remains eternally, and the temporary cloud-like illusion comes and goes away. Foolish living beings are attracted by the temporary cloud, but intelligent men are more concerned with the eternal sky with all its variegatedness. So, what do we want? We want temporary results, or do we want permanent results? That is our choice as marginal energies. Temporary results may come quickly, so you have a choice. You can have a quick fix, or you can wait for the permanent result, which may take some time and will take some effort, but it will be permanent. That's there. So we're given two choices. You can have a quick, effortless, temporary relief, but it's very temporary, or go for the permanent one. It's like like they have these game shows, right? You can win so many £1,000, but you have to answer the hardest question, or you have to answer so many questions, or take the money that is already accumulated, or go for the easier question. So given the choice, what do? Do you take the chance where you have to put more effort in, or you just go for the easy option? It's up to us, what we do. But if you take the easy option, then you'll be taking easy option again and again, life after life. That's the only difference. So let's see what we have. Anything to add here on this one? So Vidu spoke to him, let's go, and he said, okay. Dhritarashtra heard and started to do introspection and contemplated on the instructions. So it shows that Dhritarashtra had, he's been like blind consciously as well. He's been sleeping, but that sleeping consciousness can be woken as well. Depends on who's waking it, right? It can be awakened as well. And maybe if his wife she might not been able to awaken him. I don't know. Did she ever remind him, or show him the picture, what's going on? Maybe she did. I no, it doesn't say. But Vidur spoke to him, and he awoke his consciousness. And once his consciousness is awakened, he starts introspection and contemplation. You have to sort of process. Yes, whatever this person is saying, is he making any sense? Is it true? What's going on here? What am I doing? Am I doing right thing? Am I going after the right things, or am I missing out on something? The introspective knowledge becomes the impetus, and you become convinced. Similarly, Dhritarashtra became convinced and set out on the path of liberation. He left everything for something more glorious. So, as I say, the penny dropped, realized he's been chasing illusionary enjoyment, an illusory life, which is very close to coming to an end. This is his last chance, and he decided to take that risk because his brother was telling him. Are our activity leading more and more into frustration? So, with us, are our activity leading more and more into frustration, or am I being inspired and motivated to do devotional service? Because that's our relationship with the Lord. What are my anchors which are holding me back? So, what's the obstacles? What are my material attachments that I'm maintaining? This is one of the offenses to the holy name. So having material attachments is an offense, when we say the 10 offenses right at the end. So maintaining material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So we've got all these instructions and we still maintain material attachments. That is an offense. To chant inattentively is offense. To have attachments even after being reminded that these are not good for you, they're unfavorable, you still hold on to them, then you're actually causing an offense. So introspection is important for all of us. We introspect, as it says here, what are my obstacles, what are my attachments that I'm maintaining by my own will. It's not like they're pulling me, I'm holding on to them. What am I holding on to that I could just release a little bit at a time and practice bhakti. So that's 29, and let's hear from yourselves, please. Stop sharing. Hare Krishna. Kiran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody. What can you say? These are just amazing verses. It takes a long time for some people for the penny to drop. But some people can see that we may be living a very undignified life. And it takes a long time for some people for that penny to drop.
Yeah.
But Vidur was such a compassionate man. He helped his kinsman find a way back home. Dhritarashtra could have continued living like a dog in the Pandavas' kingdom. But Vidur was saintly enough to say to him, "Come on, man, wake up, get a grip of your life, because we cannot continue to be in denial." And so, yes, Dhritarashtra was in denial for a long, long time until Vidur came along. There are three ways that have been indicated. You can become a sannyasi straight away, or you can, but it takes an effort to become a sannyasi. It's not an easy route. There are only a handful of people who become sannyasis, and then there are those who become total renunciates. But we are in the vanaprastha, grihastha environment, living with family, and to become aware and to become enlightened is a bit of a longer process, but it's a process which is filled with challenges, trials, and tribulations. But the prize is enormous. Be in the world, but not of it. And these are great learnings that comes from Vidur to his brother. The material world is full of distractions, and we are distracted time and time and time again. Dhritarashtra was distracted by wealth, gain, fame, and for himself and for his family. But in life, there is more to it than success, which is determined by material things. We have to become detached in this world, detached from mind and sense gratification. We have a transcendental relationship with the divine. Never forget your relationship with Krishna. But many are preoccupied with the demigods because we want this, we want the other. And the demigods are very giving and very affectionate. They will fulfill your material needs. And hence, we will be bound perpetually to the age of Kali. This is an opportunity to transcend the age of Kali. And our spiritual literature, the wisdom, gives us guidance on how to get out of this unreal world to the real world, from darkness to light, from mortality to immortality. It is done through attaching to the higher taste. And the higher taste can only and will only ever be Krishna and Krishna alone. Associate with the sadhus, those who are of positive, right thinking, and they have a track record. If we associate with drunkards, they will give you a drink, one for the road. If you engage with thieves, they'll show you how to break into the Louvre. We have to be very mindful that this opportunity comes but once in a lifetime. And we have to be very mindful that time is short, and that driving force that all the sadhus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, all the exalted Advaita Acharyas and all the Gurus have come. They have given us a way back home. We can continue to be temporarily be titillated by tinsel and trash. Christmas is just around the corner. Lots of tinsel, but there's a bigger star, the star in heaven that's waiting for us. The journey home is within our grasp. Journey home requires a journey within. The journey to the material world requires a journey outwards. Journey home, because that's where divinity, the Paramatma, resides very close to the Atma. Bring that distance on that branch between the Atma and the Paramatma closer and closer, ever still on a daily basis. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Absolutely. Now, what is we're chasing a fantasy. This is the problem. We're chasing a fantasy, chasing an illusion, and that we think will give us happiness, and time again, we get frustrated. We all know this actor, Jim Carrey, from the Mask, the movie called The Mask, and he actually said in an interview that he prays that everyone gets everything that they think will make them happy. He prays that everyone gets everything that they think will make them happy, because they'll realize once they've got those things, they're still not happy. That is true enlightenment. You get everything that you think would have made you happy. You want this, you want that, you want the best of this, best of that, best house, best car, best wife, best everything. All the wealth in the world, all the best foods, best clothes, you find that they still don't make you happy. And we know that already, because we know the billionaires, they're not necessarily the happiest people on the planet. They're more frustrated. So material things don't necessarily bring you happiness. They might bring you some comfort for a while, but they don't bring you happiness. So we want to stay in reality. We have to if we want to stay in the real world, then put Krishna in the center. And that we can remain surrendered to him. If we do things for Krishna's satisfaction, then we can only be happy, because our happiness is connected with Krishna's happiness, and that would give us happiness. Otherwise, we just frustrated because other people have still probably got more. Doesn't matter how much we have, we still want more and more. There is no end to greed. Greed is unlimited, lust is unlimited, anger is unlimited. You want more and more, you never find that happiness. So Krishna in center, surrender to him, that is the way to find you happiness. Thank you. Priya Mataji, I don't know if you want to make any comments on this. Hare Krishna. But it's okay if you don't, it's fine. Okay. So, Radharani?
Hare Krishna, my pranams to all of you. Yes, we've been reminded that about the qualities of Narottam, of the best of the humans. Either you become Narottam by self-awakening, which is very difficult for all of us. We haven't got that much knowledge or that much of strength in us to awaken ourselves. We all get some understanding just by hearing. Hearing makes it possible for all of us to understand what is required from this human life, because otherwise we would never know. We will just follow what is going around in the material world, and we know where it leads to. It just brings us misery, and it brings us very minute amount of happiness and lots of troubles, which we all know. And we cannot become exactly how it is said in Shastras that you become perfect, but we can at least bring our daily routine, daily life in such a way that practice it in such a way that we have got service to Krishna. When in every time we go out to do some shopping, always thinking of what should we buy to make some bhoga for Krishna so we can offer him. How can we make the lordships happy? Even it's in a little effort we are making, but everything is counted for, because all these little activities we are doing, it's sometimes you just question yourself that am I doing the right thing? Is Krishna taking notice? But the Shastras, they say that nothing else what we are doing in this world, what are we collecting in material wise, is all going to be left behind. It's not going to go with us. Only thing which is going to be taken notice of is whatever little service, whatever little thoughts we had for the lordships while we were alive, whatever we have done, because this is how we have all started our bhakti again in this life. We must have left it in some sort of way. We must be on the path of bhakti in our last life somewhere, and we did some anarthas, so our bhaktis remained incomplete, and we were given birth again, and now we've been given chance again to do what we can, and this is what is going with us. Otherwise, it's really disheartening when we think, oh, I have to start again, do this task, that task. But when you think of it, that you will have to be born again, not just doing the mundane tasks over and over every day in our lives, but you'll be given another birth to do this again, and God knows how many births before the soul will realize that what is the real purpose of this coming and going on this earth. So let us try our best what we can do so we can get closer to Krishna as we move on through our lives. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. We'll continue this chapter on Friday and see where Dhritarashtra's journey leads him now. So like this is like big change, big turnaround in the Mahabharata, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam's pastime of Dhritarashtra and Vidur. So it's amazing transformation that Dhritarashtra is actually, I don't think he's worshipped God all his life. He's like just been power hungry, frustrated by his blindness first of all, and then power hungry, and he wants to enjoy the royalty through his own senses, through his sons as well. But now this is like a total turnaround for him, total new life that he's going to lead, and let's see where that goes. It's very, very interesting. So catch up again Friday. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Prem Nande, Hari Hari Go Jai. Thank you so much for joining. Hare
Hare Krishna.